Hello, this is Jer. I'm playing Oxygen Not Included, and today I'm getting the Moral High Ground achievement. It's nice to do after a few episodes of having to take detours from achievements. Anyways, the Moral High Ground achievement requires you for 10 cycles to have a dupe in a rocket in space with a morale of higher than 25 or higher. So that's why I've got this really nice looking rocket. So they're going to get a morale bonus for just the decor. There's a great hall for them to eat at, and there's a food source, which in the previous episode I made pepper bread. In addition to that, I'm choosing a dupe that likes a lot of things because every skill point you give them, they're getting a +1 to morale for each of those. So this dupe here has 9 morale points just because of their skills. So that's going to make things a little bit easier. So I'm going to get that dupe that I chose, give them the skills. They automatically have 9 to go up in this rocket and see what happens. Alright, this is footage from actually earlier, and I've just realizing that I forgot to put food in there. So I don't have pepper bread at this point, so I'm putting barbecue meat in there and gonna see what that's gonna do when my dupe goes up and has access to just barbecue. So my dupe that's guaranteed to have at least 9 morale points for their interests that they've learned, it goes into the rocket. The rocket goes up in the beginning of the first cycle. I'm a little bit disappointed I just missed it because I would have got a point for the previous cycle if I had to get up there just a little bit earlier. But I'm experimenting at this point, so I'm not too worried about it. I decide that I might as well put them in a schedule with a larger number of breaks. So I give them a schedule that has a huge number of breaks. But the highest number morale that you can get is 4, and that's when you have a 5-hour schedule of breaks. Any more is wasteful. But they're going to be wasting the time up in this rocket anyway, so whatever. I decided to have a look at Explorer's morale. So you can do that easily by going to the skills menu and then hovering over that dupe. So I'm going to look at my dupes morale points and calculate whether this is going to work or not. And find out they've got 9 points just for their interests, as I mentioned before, 8 for their meal. They're eating in a great hall and will continue to do so. So they're going to get 6 there. 5+ hour breaks, so 4 morale points there. They're already going to get 25. They're going to lose some of the things like shower and that, but I only need 25 or more. So this is fine, except for the fact that I know several things go wrong in my base, and that explains the last couple episodes. So I'm going to continue on from this point where I will also have pepper bread, which is going to give me a little bit higher morale bonus. So this should work. So this is now back to the current time in which I have pepper bread as an edible meal. So I'm going to load the rocket up with pepper bread instead of barbecue, which I've done in the previous little cut there. So just selecting that, and I'm making sure that it's frozen just like any other food I want to put in a rocket. So I send a dupe up into this rocket that now has pepper bread in it. And it's almost at the turn of the cycle, and I'm really hoping they board it because I'll get credit for the first cycle if they do. So I've got the game paused here, selected my dupe, and going to choose a location. It doesn't have to be anywhere special, so might as well just go 1 tile away. I don't have to actually travel in the rocket. It just needs to be in space. So there's the dupe. They're just, come on. Let's hit launch. Are we going to make it just before the turn of the cycle? Come on, come on. Up you go, up you go. I think we make it. I think we made it. Let's start off by taking off their exosuits, because that's not going to last for 10 cycles. And might as well have them. I don't know whether it impacts morale. I doubt it. All right, so let's start off seeing if I made it 1 cycle, because technically I launched up in this rocket the previous cycle, even though that was just a little bit ago. So if I go to the bottom, you'll find this one here, morale high ground. I made it 1 out of 10 cycles so far. Okay, so just made it in the nick of time. I'm going to have to get 9 more in order to be able to get this get this thing. So at this point, I get curious. I got credit for having my dupe have that has more than 25 morale up in space. If I were to land the rocket, and as long as I'm back up again before the turn of the cycle, will I still like accumulate the points, or will landing the rocket reset it? So I do a save here because I'm doubting this is going to work, but it would be really curious if that was the case. I wouldn't even have to have a pretty rocket. I just have to send them up 10 times, making sure I get there before the beginning of this cycle. So let's do a test. First thing I look at is just the fact of landing the rocket, because now the rocket is no longer in space. Has it cleared my status? It hasn't. It's still got 1 of 10. The question is, if I go back up in space before the end of the cycle, will that go to 2? All right, so I launched the rocket back up in space before the turn of the cycle. I see that they get a morale bonus for being on the base, showering, bedrooms, whatever you have in your base. And the question is, as the cycle turns to the next number, will I get credit for an extra day of 25 plus morale? Yes. Yes. I'm kind of shocked, but yes. Okay. Just absorbing what this means. This means essentially I wasted time in building this really nice rocket. So what you could do in theory then, at the end of every cycle, as long as you remember, just throw a dupe up that you know has 25 morale, get them to spend the turn of the cycle there, you'll get another credit. They can come back down, do their work in the base, keep their morale up, and as long as you remember to send them back up, that's the whole thing. And you can even put in automation with the cycle clock thing that says, gives you a reminder at the end of the day, oh yeah, throw your dupe up in space and do that for 10 times. So as interesting as that little discovery is, I decide that I'm not going to do that because it's going to be annoying for me to remember to send them up every cycle. And I already built this rocket. I have a feeling if I ever do a playthrough and get all achievements again, I probably will take advantage of that. But my rocket's ready to go. I'm just going to leave them up for 10 cycles and expect that I'm going to be able to get that achievement. I've made it halfway. As long as my dupe survives another 5 cycles and maintains their morale, I've got this thing. So I've got 9 of my 10 cycles, and I'm about to transition to the next cycle here. And the question is this going to give me my achievement? Just waiting for the game to get the next cycle. There it is, colony achievement earned. I can already see that I have it. If I click on that on the left alert messages there, I should be able to see this thing. All right, let's wait for it. There it is, Moral High Ground. So I've done this achievement. I've just looked on Steam, and it is only beginning to 0.1% of players, which I find quite shocking given that there's a little hack to be able to get it quite easily. But anyway, there it is, a nice achievement done back in the base, and I hope to see you in another episode where I continue to get an additional achievement in Oxygen Not Included. Till then.